Good morning, Intenders.
Good morning.
Welcome and welcome back to Morning Intentions. Today is Tuesday, July 7th, and thank you for joining us for this month's theme, Life Changes and Reprioritizing. Yesterday, we talked all about what mattered to us 5 years ago that doesn't matter to us today. We hope you all reflected on our curiosity question. What mattered 5 years ago that doesn't matter nearly as much today? Hopefully, there were some great insights that came up with that question. What it got me thinking is about life math. And Annette, I'm sure you're going to say, I have no
Life
idea what to
math?
talk about. Life math. I started thinking about what I'm sure I've brought this up before. I call it life math, but just think if you have this desired outcome, this ultimate goal of what you want your life to be, does what you're doing add up to that goal? So if I want to run a marathon, well, if I don't get up every morning and run, well, the math isn't going to math and work out like that. But if I train, plus practice, plus good nutrition, well, then I can achieve my goal. And that also works with our identities. That also works with life in general. Does what we're doing add up to who we want to be and who we are becoming?
I like life math. That makes a lot of sense. I've never heard you say that, but that is spot on. And you brought up identities, which is what we wanted to talk about today.
It sure is, because we can have an identity and an identity brief overview, and maybe not so brief. You know us, once we start talking, what should be brief turns into a pretty extensive multi-day discussion. So identity, think of it as when you're thinking about yourself and you say, I am. You could say, I'm a runner, I'm a mom, or I'm a dad, I'm a caregiver. You may also go a little deeper and say, I'm the strong one, I'm the clown. People see me as the baby of the family. Like all of those are identities. And then what can happen is we can start playing those identities out, and those become the roles and expectations of our lives, which we talked about a few months ago. If you don't remember that or would like to dive deeper in that, you'd want to check out our podcasts from May. Now, we can have an identity that doesn't serve us anymore, and that would be now it's time to reprioritize. Life is changing. The identity of who I am or who I thought I was, that's changing. Now I need to reprioritize so the life math adds up to the new identity, to the new way I see myself. If you're doing the same things and expecting different results, I know this is attributed to Einstein. I don't know if he said it. I thought he talked about E equals MC squared, so I'm always a little hesitant to say Einstein with that, but maybe he said it. That's who it's attributed to. That's the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results.
It's
So
harder than you think, though,
what do you mean?
because there's a lot of social pressure.
There sure is. And that's where the math comes in. So if we keep doing the same addition in our lives, we're going to still show up as the same identities. But you're so right in it. There's internal pressure when we have those shoulds, those musts, those oughts, and those have tos. This is how I should show up. This is what people are expecting of me, so I have to do it. There's also the social pressure of people, when you start to change, they will notice. And if they're awesome people who listen to the podcast too, they're going to allow you to emerge. But if they're not, they're going to question, well, what happened to you? You're different. What's going on with you? That may be the response you get. But our desires for life changes and our desire for reprioritizing, we have to give so many F's, as Annette would say, from her experience with the subtle art of not giving a you know what, that we can bypass all of that and give no F's and be who we want to be. And I've noticed that in you, Annette, and it's pretty cool. It is actually amazing and so cool, where these things that I know would trip you up in the past, they're nothing to you anymore.
You've really noticed that?
It's so clear. It's so easy to see the things that normally you would question yourself. And it's not that I minded listening about it, but I know I would hear about it and say, well, I'm not sure what to do. Should I do this or should I do that? I want to be a good person. And then nowadays you just say, I don't care. I don't need to do that in order to be a good person. I don't need to do that in order to show up as the best version of myself. These expectations that you had placed on yourself, I don't see them anymore. And it's so amazing.
And it feels so much better.
You seem happier, actually.
I'm so much happier. I'm so much happier. I think I've shared this on the podcast, so if I've shared it, I apologize. I'm happier than I've ever been, but I'm doing life so much differently. But when I talk about letting go of outdated identities, a quick review on that is those identities did serve us. So let's say we're the organizer of the group. We got a lot of pleasure out of being the organizer of the group, and it made us feel like we belonged.
And every group needs an organizer.
But then it can get a little bit too much, or we're the organizer for way too long.
Or there's the expectation, and this is what I've seen with you and some of our clients. They start being the organizer many a year ago.
Because they wanted to, and it gave them joy, and they liked contributing that way.
And then everybody saw them as the organizer and didn't chip in. Well, it's like, oh yeah, Net's going to take care of that. That became the attitude. And that's not what people really wanted. They weren't wanting to have, this is my job in the family or in the company. I'm the organizer. It worked out that way. Then everyone saw them as the organizer. So then the identity and the pressure becomes, well, Annette's going to take care of that. We don't even need to think about it. We're not even going to ask if she needs help. We're not even going to ask if she wants to do this. She'll just do it for us.
That's the problem. The identities, I would have to say, whether I've seen that with coaching clients or experienced it myself, the identities that we have that we've either created for ourselves or other people created for us, most of the time you can say, yeah, I could see how they got there. But then when they stay and we don't allow people to emerge and we don't allow ourselves to say, this doesn't fit me anymore. When we think about life changes and reprioritizing, I do believe we need to look at the identities that we have created for ourselves or that other people have created for us. Also, other people can create identities for us that aren't so cool. And that can bother us, and we can say, oh, wow, I've got to prove them wrong. I'm not that way. And then you're just a slave to somebody else's identity that they created for you.
And judgments at their core are opinions based on ignorance. There's someone just taking a small little snapshot, and then they paint the whole picture from it. And they say, this is who someone is. And the thing that we all need to do, checking in with our identities, and I liked this example of being the organizer since that feels very personal. I think we both have that in us to some extent. If you don't want to be the organizer anymore, stop organizing. You can keep your own space clean and neat and tidy and organize your own life. But if you've been the organizer for a group, you don't just have to toss the bomb in there and say, I'm never organizing for you people ever again. You can bring it up. I've been the organizer for a very long time, and that role doesn't fit me anymore. So I would like everyone to chip in so we can organize together. You can say it nicely, but it's that life math. If you don't want to end up as organizer, all the addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, exponents, everything can't add up to here I am the organizer once again. And with that, our intention for today is a reflection question. What is my life math telling me? What is my life math telling me? Thank you so much for joining us today. Our day is better because you are part of our day. See you tomorrow.
See you then.